going to make a reverse canvas sign with Chalk Couture. So you'll need your canvas. This is an 11 by 14 canvas, just a standard artist canvas. You also need your supplies from Chalk Couture. We're going to use the Enjoy the Journey transfer. This is the May Club Couture transfer. Perfect for spraying. We're also going to use a variety of squeegees, some stir sticks, and a variety of colors of Chalkology paste. You can pick your colors ahead of time. I have a wide variety of colors laid out on my work table, and I'm just going to pick them as I go along. You also need an old bath towel. Now, optionally, you can also use a stain to stain the frame of your canvas after you take it apart, but this is optional. For cleanup, I also recommend the use of some disinfecting wipes, so be sure to have those on hand. Now let's get started. To start, we're just going to flip our canvas over to the opposite side and remove all of these staples. This is what makes it a reverse canvas. So just get under each one, pull them out as you go along, and then we'll get started on our project. Don't worry about tearing up this edge, as we will cut it off later. Just get the staples out to keep the canvas as whole as possible. And once all these staples are pulled out, your canvas is now in two pieces. So it's a wood frame and then the canvas itself. So this wood frame, I just want to flip it over, and I'm going to go ahead and stain it. You do not have to do this step if you do not wish to, but I'm going to go ahead and do that as my next step. So I'm just going to use a dark walnut stain. So I'm going to apply it with a brush. I'm going to allow it to sit a few minutes, and I'm going to wipe away any excess. And then I'm going to set this entire thing aside to dry, and we're going to work on the canvas portion. So now we have our frame all stained. I'm going to set it aside to dry, and we can start on the canvas portion. So now the canvas portion looks something like this. We're going to use the front of the canvas, and this is the back of the canvas where the frame was. Now, you can see the lines where the frame was inside of the canvas. But you will have to go slightly inside of that to account for the frame. So we're going to go ahead and put our frame onto the canvas on those lines. And then what I like to do is use a pencil and mark way in that corner so it will be covered up later. But it'll give me an idea of where this frame is going to sit and remind me not to use my transfer in those areas. So you can see my marks. Right, now for our transfer. So this is a Chalk Couture transfer. Comes in a package that looks like this. When you open it, you will see that it's in different pieces. So the transfers come with cut lines, and these are the lines that we need to cut on. So we're going to cut this one into pieces, and this is so we can layer this. So we're going to start with these wheels, layer the bike on top, add things like the seat and the handles, basket, flowers, that type of thing, the words all across the top. Now, you're cutting these apart. You can do whatever you would like with these. You can add baskets of flowers in other areas. You can put the words on the bottom instead of on the top. This is your piece of art, and you can do it however you would like. But if you would like to make one just like mine, you absolutely can do that as well. Alright, so there we have our pieces. And now we're going to start by laying out our large pieces, just to make sure we are going to have enough room, that we get our placement correct, and it's going to look gorgeous on this size of canvas. So I'm going to start with the wheels, and I'm going to remove this from the backing sheet. Always remove side to side or top to bottom, never corner to corner. And then we can just apply this directly to the canvas. Now, in some cases, for surfaces that are hard, like say a chalkboard, you would want to fuzz the transfer. Fuzzing the transfer is just putting it on a bath towel and picking up some of that fuzz before you put it on your surface. In this case, we're okay to just go ahead and put it down. And I like to just rub my squeegee across it just to make sure it's down well. And I'm actually going to use this Plum Chalkology paste on this canvas. Now, there's two different products you can use here. I'm going to use Chalkology paste, but you could also use our Couture ink. Chalkology paste is a chalk paste, and it is removable on chalkboards. However, I'm going to use a sealer at the end. And I'm going to seal this art onto this canvas, and that way I will have it forever. The ink will do the same thing, but you would have to heat set it. But since this is a reverse canvas, heat setting is completely an option with an iron or a heat press. So really, either way you want to go with this, maybe the one you have the colors you want to use in would be the best one to use. Alright, so we're just going to stir this up well. This has been sitting a while. Sometimes the product settles during shipment, things like that. Basically, you want it to be the consistency of maybe Greek yogurt, something like that. If it's a little thick, add water very sparingly, and I'm talking droplets at a time. A little goes a long way. Alright, so this plum, we're just going to dab it on a little bit. We are going to use a squeegee, drag it across. Then we can remove the excess. The excess can actually go back into your container for use on another project, so no waste here. Just make sure everything on that transfer is covered. Swipe across to remove the excess. And we're ready to peel it up and reveal that design. Alright, and then we'll just use clean hands to peel it up. Again, side to side, or top to bottom, and reveal our gorgeous design. Now this transfer is dirty. We just want to pop it in some water until we can clean it. And you just want to make sure this portion is dry before you layer on top of it. So I'm just going to use a blow dryer to blow dry it. This just speeds up the process, but you can absolutely wait for it to air dry. And once this portion is completely dry, you can add on your next layer. In this case, our bike. So we're just going to peel that up from our backing paper. And then you just want to position it over the portion that you've already completed, making sure everything is lined up. This is just the crucial part. I would just take your time here, making sure you get the transfer straight, even, and just how you want it. And then once it's exactly how you want it, press it down well. Now we have to choose a color for the bike portion. I'm going to choose this Aquamarine Chalkology paste. And we're going to repeat the steps for this transfer that we did for the wheels. Alright, we've applied our Chalkology paste, squeegeed it across the transfer, removed any excess, and now we can peel back to reveal our gorgeous bicycle. Again, we'll need to let this dry before doing any layering of the top. Now we can repeat this same procedure over and over again and complete our canvas. Alright, we have a couple more pieces and we are done with our project. We will allow it to dry completely and then use a spray sealer to seal it, make it permanent, and of course we're going to put that gorgeous rustic frame around this as well. So we have the handles and the seat left to do. You can leave these off. I mean, you could say this looks good enough to me. I don't want to do the handles and seat, but they do have a transfer for the seat and the handles. to make them an accent color. I'm just going to use this Thai teal Chalkology paste and just accent the seat and handles just slightly. I'm going to set that aside and allow it to dry. We're going to talk a little bit about cleaning our transfers, squeegees, everything we've used today. I've been cleaning as I went along, but I just want to go over it with you really quickly. So if you want to continue working on your project, like I was doing earlier, you're absolutely more than welcome to. Just be sure to drop your transfers into some water to keep them wet. Basically, you do not want the Chalkology paste to dry on the transfer before you've had a chance to clean it. Now for these, I've just used them, so I'm just going to use a Clorox wipe, and I'm going to clean the front as well as the back. Then I'm going to allow it to dry, sticky side up, put it back on that backing paper, and these can be used like 12 or more times. So tons of different projects that you can make with these, and not just reverse canvas. There are absolutely a ton of different projects that these transfers can make. So we want to be sure to save those. Then our squeegees, we want to clean that up really well. Reuse those over and over again. The stir stick we used with our teal Chalkology paste, we want to clean that up really well. And then we want to be sure to put the lid tightly on our Chalkology paste. Make sure that everything is seated down, and that will keep it ready for our next project. Alright, once our project is dried completely, we want to add a spray sealer over the top to make it permanent. This is my favorite brand. It's an Americana sealer in matte finish. Also comes in gloss finish if that's what you prefer. So just take your project outside, spray it with 1 to 2 coats of the sealer, allow that to dry, then bring it back in and we will put it on our canvas. Alright, now it's time to add that gorgeous frame to our project. So what we want to do is trim around this excess, and we just want to trim it under the frame, and then we're going to use a staple gun and we are going to add that frame back on. So you can see my marks that I made at the very beginning of this video. I'm going to cut slightly on the outside of those to leave myself extra room for those staples. And this is why we were not worried about tearing this canvas up along these stapled edges when we remove the staples. And it's time to break out the staple gun. Alright, we're just going to flip this over. As you can see, we have our canvas on our frame. And you may want to flip it back over, make sure it looks okay. That's perfect. And we just want to add staples around the edges right into the wood. I got my 4 corners first, stretching each time. Now is a great time to turn it over. Make sure it looks okay to you, because right now you only have 4 staples to remove to readjust. Now we'll just continue adding because I was happy with the results. And there you have a finished piece of artwork ready for your wall or mantle.